Thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Naja'at Tijani. We begin with climate and environmental matters. The UN Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed says the United Nations will support Nigeria's decarbonization ambitions so as to achieve the Global 2030 agenda, especially in combating desertification and pollution. Onengiye Fineface reports.
Former Minister of Environment and champion of the Green Bonds and Ogoni cleanup, Amina Mohammed, is at the ministry this time as Deputy Scribe of the United Nations, with a new commitment to help Nigeria raise its climate ambition and attract United Nations support to the country's energy transition.
The silver lining in the COVID cloud is the Ministry of Environment's investments that you make in the green transition. And here there is a large appetite for bringing private sector investments into countries like ours that would choose to grow green.
Like other developing countries, Nigeria is still in need of the promised $100 billion from developed countries to enable it attain climate change targets.
We cannot afford to not include gas in our transition, Your Excellency. The funding of gas can cause issues not just for Nigeria, but other developing countries. So we need support to look at how can this transition be, especially with the gas, up to a certain point where developing countries can hold their footing.
This meeting is expected to also increase UN support in forestry research, pollution control, and environmental health. Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Senate has condemned alleged unlawful encroachment into Nigerian borders and arrest of Nigerians by officials of the government of Benin Republic. The motion of urgent public importance moved by Senator Tolu Odebiyi called for the condemnation of the unlawful encroachment and arrest, calling on the Ministries of Foreign Affairs, Justice and the National Border Commission, as well as the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs and other related committees to investigate the matter. The senators are worried that such acts are capable of causing diplomatic feud between the two friendly countries.
Direct the committees on Foreign Affairs, Justice and state and local governments to urgently engage with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Federal Ministry of Justice and the National Border Commission to investigate the incident. Is that okay? Okay, those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it.
Meanwhile, the Senate has passed the bill that seeks to give legal backing to the Nigerian French language village in Badagry. It has also received the report of its Committee on Appropriations on the 2021 supplementary budget for consideration at the next sitting on Wednesday. The leadership of the National Assembly has assured the Public Complaints Commission that it is ready to amend the act of the Commission so as to position it to address the challenges of the moment. The President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, gave this assurance while inaugurating members of the Commission. Dayo Gunshola reports.
Established in 1975, the Public Complaints Commission is a platform provided for Nigerians to seek redress from injustice. President of the Senate urged the commissioners to hit the ground running and be selfless in the discharge of their duties.
The Commission is expected to strengthen good governance by providing a safety valve aimed at preventing aggrieved citizens from resorting to self-help, violence, and militancy. Therefore, I urge you to perform the quasi-judicial duties of your office with diligence, integrity, good conscience, dispassionately and effectively, devoid of conflict of interest or affiliations.
The point here is that you must bring to play all the necessary ingredients needed in public administration for the workers' protection, for the benefit of Nigerians and residents of Nigeria, irrespective of ethnicity or religious inclinations.
For the Chief Commissioner and other members of the Commission, the public trust reposed in them must be upheld.
The Complaints Commission under my watch will strive to live above board in ensuring transparency and accountability in all spheres of our operations.
This is like creating a platform, an alternative platform for them to be heard. So you do it more with your conscience. It's a conscious thing.
The commissioners inaugurated are from each state of the Federation. From the National Assembly, Dayo Gunshola, NTA News.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has described as speculation news making the rounds that the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2021 has a new section 50, subsection 2, which bans electronic transmission of election results. The Speaker, in response to the issue raised by a House member as a matter of privilege, said the House Committee is yet to lay the report for consideration and that the Chairman of the Committee on Electoral Matters has confirmed that there is no such provision in the bill.
Like I said, ordinarily I would not comment on things that we read or whatever on the pages of newspapers, but because of the cacophony of voices and because you have raised that matter of privilege, and I guess to allay fears, let me just say that I do not believe that any such thing is there's been any alteration. The committee's report, only the authentic committee's report will, as has always been, be tabled on the floor of the House. Nothing more, nothing less. I have asked the chairman of the committee, she is not aware of any such, so it remains in the realm of speculation, and we'll wait till the committee submits its report.
He reassures Nigerians of Parliament's resolve to pass the Electoral Act Amendment Bill soon. And still on legislative matters, the House of Representatives Committee on Host Communities says operators in the oil and gas industry must be seen to be fair in the implementation of agreements brokered by government. The committee, during an investigative hearing, restated its resolve to ensuring that any activity which will disrupt production is prevented. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
This hearing was convened in response to petitions emanating from host communities pertaining to perceived imbalance in the siting of projects by operators in the industry. The chairman of the committee said host communities as stakeholders should cooperate with government as it works to ensure that communities receive their dues.
You must be ready for dialogue. And for the company too, you also have to be ready for dialogue. Dialogue doesn't kill anybody, but it solves problems.
Management of the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas informed the committee that it has since commencement of operations worked in line with agreements as drafted by governments. In another engagement, the House Committee on Federal Capital Territory has invited the Revenue Service for clarifications on its activities due to issues of jurisdiction. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, has described the delivery of the 1.5 megawatt solar power project at the Ministry of Works and Housing as a clear demonstration of Nigeria's walk towards meeting her energy needs in a renewable manner. This was at the inauguration of the solar power project on behalf of President Muhammadu Buhari. Abdullahi Mohammed reports.
Stone hitting two birds, parking space and the host to the solar panels. The end product, a solution to the shortage in energy needs of headquarters of 2 critical ministries. This, for the federal government, is working the talks of the Paris Agreement.
This 1.52 megawatt solar farm, which I'm told is the largest solar project for a public building in Africa, will enable us to reduce carbon emissions, and it is something to be proud of, that we are contributing to saving the planet for future generations.
Climate action is a $3 trillion investment opportunity in Africa by 2030. And let me underscore here, an investment opportunity in Africa. This is why it gives me great pleasure to be part of this launch ceremony today, which highlights Nigeria's commitment and leadership to the energy transition with renewables.
The Minister of Works and Housing can point in the analysis of the impact of the project.
This project will see to the reduction of the average diesel consumption from 776,248 liters per annum to 166,825 liters per annum. And it will save the government over 270 million naira throughout its life cycle.
Nigeria has set for itself an ambitious target of increasing access to electricity to 90% by the year 2030, with at least 10% of these derived from clean energy. In the nooks and crannies of this country, renewable energy projects like this ones are being delivered, and Nigeria is gradually realizing its energy needs. And guess what? In a cleaner manner. In Abuja, Abdullah Mohammed, NT News.
And still on the dividends of democracy, the Oba of Ajase-Ipo, Oba Ismail Adebiosu, has appealed to the federal government to make its impact felt in his domain. The Oba made the request when the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, paid him a visit. Anthony Forson reports.
Oba Ismail Adebiosu, who was appointed recently by the Kwara State government, told the minister that his area has a huge investment potentials. So, with the necessary infrastructures in place, it will engage youths in the area to become productive.
I want to particularly mention that our youth want to appeal through your office to the federal government for youth empowerment. Because insecurity here, left and right, know that the federal government is doing a lot in this area. But we want to implore and we want to appeal through your officer that the federal government should please come to our aid. We have upcoming ones that are vibrant, graduates that are ready to work. And I can assure that they will be good ambassador of the Igomina community.
The Information and Culture Minister congratulated the Oba on his ascension to the throne and prayed the Almighty to grant him wisdom during his reign. He equally assured that the Oba's request will be taken to the Council for consideration. Born in 1980, the 41-year-old monarch is a law graduate from University of Ilorin and member of the United Kingdom Chamber of Arbitrators. He succeeded Oba Sikiru Atanda, who died in February this year. Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Television Authority says it will continue to create content which will make Nigerians ponder on unity and togetherness in the country, as everyone has a responsibility to restore the lost glory of Nigeria. The Director General of the NTA, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, made the pledge when he received the leadership of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations on a courtesy visit. Abdul Malik Hassan reports.
The Nigerian Institute of Public Relations on the NTA is to further solicit partnership that will aid in resolving contemporary challenging issues in Nigeria, with a view to addressing them and ensure national integration.
The most important thing is how do we come together, harness those endowments for the benefit of the whole. This is what we need to do, and this is what the public relations community in Nigeria has come out to ensure that it provides the necessary platform for this country to do.
Director General of the NTA, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad says NTA will continue to work with the NIPR with a view to reposition the institute for the greater good.
This country have been emphasizing our fault lines instead of leveraging on our diversities, for the growth and development of this country. And for too long, we in this country, especially in the most recent past, we've been talking to each other instead of talking with each other. I think we should get a platform whereby Nigerians from all parts of this country, Nigerians of all shades of opinion, can sit down on a table and speak with each other.
At this meeting, one thing is certain, that is a hope and conviction that the efforts will lead to success in making Nigerians work together in the right path to a better understanding of themselves as diverse people of greatness in the global arena.
So, thank you very much.
Elsewhere, ICT engineers and NTA are making a great deal for effective partnership onto capacity development.
The Institute will be organizing conferences, workshops, and seminars, among others, which we will very much appreciate the sponsorship of our members within the NTA.
Today, Korean Engineering Assembly is coming up next month. NTA is sponsoring 123 engineering personnel. That is the blessings and support we all have from the management of NTA.
The largest television network in Africa, NTA is adequately committed in utilizing ICT skills in broadcasting. In Abuja, Abdul Malik Hassan, NTA News.
Let's now join Kendi in Lagos for stories making the rounds in that axis.
Hello, Najatu, and welcome to Lagos. Controller General Nigerian Immigration Service says the service is considering the deployment of drones for effective surveillance and monitoring of activities at the nation's borders. It disclosed this at the end of a senior management retreat organized by the United Nations International Organization for Migration in Lagos. Joy Ken Abakpoya has details.
For some time now, the Nigerian immigration has been deeply engaged in scaling up effective border control management and visa and residency administration policy, which are important to enhancing Nigeria's security architecture. The service has been engaging border communities to achieve this feat and also adopting the use of technology, a critical tool in achieving modern and effective border security. This three-day retreat tagged Strengthening Migration Management Through Best Practices was therefore an opportunity for personnel to assess strategies so far adopted and acquire more knowledge on processes and procedures for enhanced security and better management of migration.
There is no way we can succeed with either machine or strong men with a gun and patrol until we work with the community. So border-community relation is key. It has been discussed. Strategies have been developed. It's going to be used effectively.
We are looking at a lot more than just the policy, but also all of the integrated approaches, including creating a secondary inspection system within the Nigerian airports.
A communique at the end of the event, jointly signed by the Controller General Immigration and the Chief of Mission International Organization for Migration, resolved that the Nigerian Immigration Service commit to delivering a safe and orderly border control system across service windows to improve passenger facilitation, while the IOM improves its partnership with the Nigerian Immigration Service on border security and migration management efforts. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakbuya, NTA News.
A 300-page book that reflects on leadership, military strategy, and maritime security has been presented to the public. Chief of the Naval Staff Vice Admiral Awa Gambo stated that the book will inspire the development of effective strategies to curb the issues of piracy and terrorism on the Nigerian waterways. Imole Ayotukide Ogunfowara has details.
Lines from Chapter 4 of the book, An Admiral's Compass, Reflections on Leadership, Military Strategy and Maritime Security, The informative and authoritative book, containing 12 chapters, documents history surrounding the surveillance systems and maritime security within the country.
This will lead to the development of leaders that can readily meet the challenges of the 21st century, explore viable funding options for effective transformation of the Nigerian Navy, as well as advocate cooperation with other agencies and institutions to achieve the nation's maritime objectives.
The armed forces and the Nigerian Navy in particular will therefore be required to engage in military policy duties and protection of national power at sea.
The author of the book, Rear Admiral Francis Akpan, retired, is a naval veteran with decades of distinguished military service involving numerous domestic and international engagements at sea and onshore. The publication, it says, will play a crucial role as roadmap to solving pertinent issues plaguing the Nigerian Navy.
To be able to drive the blue economy, we must have an enabled environment. That enabled environment can only come about when we cooperate and collaborate with each other.
The book is expected to also serve as a viable reference material for naval officers and academic research. In Lagos, Imole Aretukede Ogunfowora, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We'll take a short break now. Nationwide continues afterwards with Salamatu in Kaduna. Troy.
Stay in tune and a warm welcome to Kaduna. Parents of abducted Bethel Baptist Secondary School students have held special prayers for the safe return of the children from their abductors. Sunday Adamu reports that the parents converged on the school premises for the prayers Tuesday morning. The report.
This is not a moment of blaming one, and blaming one, and blaming one, and blaming one. This is not the moment of blaming people.
Still in shock and pains, but trusting in the power of prayers, these parents converge to seek divine intervention for the release of the students.
These kids are in pain. They cannot cope in the bush. They are kids.
We know they are trying, but we believe that they should do more.
Bethel Baptist Secondary School in Damishi, outskirts of Kaduna City Center, and one other school located within the neighborhood came under attack by bandits who abducted scores of students early hours of Monday. Hours later, the Kaduna State Police Command says 26 out of the students were rescued, while efforts have been intensified for the safe rescue of the rest. In the meantime, the state government has shut down the schools that are considered vulnerable. In Kaduna, Adamu Sunday, NTA News.
I appeal to the younger generation to remain patriotic in service to their fatherland while promoting peaceful coexistence among all segments of society. Those are words of encouragement from Usman Baba Patagi, popularly known as Samanja, when the Nigerian army reached out to recognize his contribution to national development. Muhammad Umar Ajingi tells us more.
A section of the media was last week awash with the rumor of the demise of Samanja. But here is Samanja at his residence in Kabala, Kaduna. He continues to receive well-wishers and admirers who come to check on him.
Anything you will do in this world, do it good. And be very careful of all the things you are doing. Yes, sir. And be careful. Take care of the job given to you.
The representative of Chief of Army Staff, General Farouk Yahya, and entourage visited to identify with the man who, through creativity in television and radio series, interpreted their roles in service to the nation.
Samanja has the Nigerian Army blood flowing in his veins. Even in his state of health, you could hear his reflection. He was excited recalling his days in the Nigerian Army, and he went further to even preach peace and security for the Nigerian state. So, in summary, Samanja, besides all he has done to project the image of the Nigerian Army over the ages, he remains an icon for the Nigerian Army.
The delegation says Nigerian Army appreciates Samanja. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umarajingi, NTA News.
That is it from here. We now join Najatu in Abuja for the rest of the stories. Abuja.
Thank you, Salamatu. The former registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, Dibu Ojerinde, has been arraigned before a federal high court sitting in Abuja on an 18-count charge by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC. Dibu Ojerinde, who pleaded not guilty to all the counts, is standing trial for alleged abuse of office, corruption and misappropriation of public funds to the tune of more than 5 billion naira. Justice Obiora Iguatu ordered the defendant to be remanded in the Kuje Correctional Facility and adjourned the case to the 8th of this month to hear the bail application of the defendant. Meanwhile, the ongoing mop-up exercise by the Imo Police Command has resulted in the arrest of suspects believed to be members of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, and the Eastern Security Network, ESN, in the state. They were arrested while attempting to launch an attack on a military checkpoint along Uweri-Orlu Road. The hoodlums, who came in their numbers, were however engaged in a gun duel by the joint security agencies, leading to the arrest of 4 members of the group. A statement by the media assistant to the Commissioner of Police, Imo State, Mike Abatam, indicates that one of the suspects sustained gunshot wounds. Meanwhile, operatives of the command are presently on the trail of the escaping suspects, who are strongly believed to have escaped with gunshot injuries. The statement further shows that the Commissioner of Police, Abu Tuyaro, has vowed to sustain the operations and arrest all criminals involved in violent crimes in the state, especially as the command has embarked on mop-up operations to arrest the remnants of the ESN and IPOB members in the state. He appeals to the people to continue to provide credible information on the activities of criminal elements in their neighborhoods. The troops of 195 Battalion Sector 1 Operation Hatankai, in conjunction with the Civilian Joint Task Force on a clearance operation within Muna General Area of Borno State, have captured 2 Boko Haram terrorists and recovered various items and utensils meant for Boko Haram replenishment. A statement by the Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Mwachukwu, indicates that the items recovered from Boko Haram terrorist logistics suppliers include 1 hand grenade, 1 axe, 1 vehicle, 5 bicycles, 2 mobile phones, and some quantities of petroleum, oil, and lubricant. The troops equally recovered a large quantity of sex enhancement drugs, pesticides, and insecticides, as well as foodstuff, amongst others. The vigilant troops also destroyed several identified terrorist camps during the operations, coming across terrorists at Labi village who attempted to flee but were swiftly intercepted by the troops. The governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Umarazulum, has visited Niger Republic on the invitation of President Bazoum Mohamedou for a closed-door meeting with focus on repatriation of Nigerian refugees who since 2014 fled communities in different parts of northern Borno over attacks by Boko Haram terrorists. Mohamed Goni reports.
President Bazoum of Niger Republic hosted Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umarazulum alongside Governor of Difa Region Issa Lamine, Senator Abubakar Kyari, and Speaker Borno State House of Assembly Abdelkarim Lawan to a closed-door meeting in Difa town. A number of communities in northern Borno share land borders with Niger Republic, which is why government and citizens of both countries have been collaborating on security and management of refugees. Governor Zulum, who spoke to journalists shortly after the meeting, described the session as fruitful, as a number of decisions were taken on repatriation of Borno citizens.
People have developed resilience within the last 6 years, and then they are now looking forward to see how they will return to their respective communities, having seen a reasonable degree of progress made by the government of Nigeria and the government of Niger as regards the security situation in the two countries.
Governor Bagana Umar Azlim also visited Malampatori, headquarters of Abadam local government area, towards preparing the liberated Boko Haram stronghold for reconstruction and safe return of the refugees. Professor Bagana Umar Azlim, who held interactive meeting with the commanding officer of the 68th Battalion in Malampatori to identify areas Borno State government could offer support, also approved 10 patrol vehicles to enhance security surveillance of the area. The governor equally directed the State Rural Water Supply Agency to drill deep aquifer borehole within the military barracks and commended the troops for their commitment. The governor later assessed infrastructure destroyed by the insurgents, which are to be constructed before December this year. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Port Harcourt is our next stop with Deepa Bari.
Thank you, Nigerian, and welcome to Port Harcourt. After 150 years of its existence, the ancient Opobo Kingdom, an island in River State, can now be accessed by road, following the inauguration of a section of the Ogoni-Andoni Opobo-Nkoro Unity Road by the River State government. Ogeniek reports that the inauguration was performed by the former Minister of Agriculture and Water Resources, Adamu Maina Waziri.
The mood in the ancient and historic kingdom of Kinjaja of Opobo was euphoric as aesthetic crowd thronged the road and the venue of the inauguration, cheering the governor for connecting the island by road to the mainland of the state.
So we thank you. We hope that the promise of continuing that the second phase of this road.
Governor Wike said the completion of the road and its inauguration is a dream come true for the people of the area and his administration.
I promise them, Honorable, I told you one thing I can assure you. By the grace of God, I will not leave as governor of River State without you driving by road.
Performing the inauguration, former Minister of Agriculture and Water Resources, Adamu Maina Waziri, expressed gratitude to God for helping Governor Wike to solve the critical needs of the Opobos.
I knew that to come to Opobo, I must enter a boat to come. But here am I today, coming by road.
The Opobo axis is 11.15 kilometer long, 7.3 meter wide, with a 1.5 meter wide shoulder on either side. In Opobo Nkoro local government area, Ogedinyekwe, NTA News.
The Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs has confirmed that the field forensic auditors mandated to carry out the physical verification phase of the ongoing forensic audit of the Niger Delta Development Commission handling River State and Delta State are on site and working effectively. This was confirmed by journalists who were on a fact-finding inspection tour in the two states. Diant Kume Ulolo completes the story.
The inspection, which was prompted by some negative reports emanating from the social media that most of the forensic auditors had either abandoned the project sites, but a visit to various sites in Rivers and Delta State indicates that the team is working assiduously. The team inspected Mbokara Internal Road, Prince Avenue Amade Street Road, NDDC transformer at Insrim Street in River State. The team later proceeded to Delta State and inspected various projects that have been audited. They also inspected chairs and desks supplied by NDDC.
We never used this kind of locker before and chair. Thank you, we appreciate.
Directors of NDDC in Rivers and Delta States noted that in River State, over 1,200 projects have been audited, while in Delta, with a total of 2,200 projects spread across the 25 local government areas, about 75 of these projects have been audited, raising hope that the forensic audit will meet the July 31st deadline.
The number of projects that have been audited, I can tell you for a fact, at least up to about 1,000 plus.
I know we have over 2,000 projects in Delta State, and for now I can say more than 60% of them have been audited.
The final report will be submitted by the end of this month. From Warri in Delta State, Yanukume Ulolo, NTA News.
We're done here. Nationwide will continue with Zemret in just right after the break. Good evening.
We apologize for the poor audio signal from our JOS Network Center. Moving on now, the provision of more quality, more affordable and safer accommodation of higher quality for civil servants in Nigeria is a priority for the President Buhari administration. The head of the Civil Service of the Federation for Lashade, Yemi Eson, said this at the inauguration of 2 estates under the Federal Integrated Staff Housing, FISH, at Karshi and Mararaba in Abuja. Hamman Jabani reports.
Many people would ask me, is the FISH office, is the FISH program really in existence? And I would tell them yes, and many people don't believe it. But today, I think me having this key and having a flat to my name is a reality.
I feel very happy because as a civil servant, every civil servant needs to have a house of his own. But when you have a house of your own or accommodation per se, it will motivate you because it's a moral booster.
These are the testimonies of beneficiaries of the Federal Integrated Staff Housing, FISH. The houses are designed to provide stress-free home ownership to public servants and their families, not only in active service but also after retirement, in demonstration of the commitment of President Buhari-led administration towards the provision of adequate housing for Nigerians, especially federal workers.
And providing houses, providing shelter to civil servants, I think is the best way of appreciating and encouraging them to even work much harder. And I think that this is just the beginning.
It is implemented through integrated strategies, including uploading of ready-built houses, group land allocation, infrastructure provision, and interministerial collaboration.
The houses comprise of 18 units of 2 bedrooms and 54 units of 3 and 2 bedrooms apartments. Since the inception of the FISH program in 2018, 321 off-takers have benefited. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, says the federal government is considering an additional 5 million pupils for the current feeding of more than 9 million beneficiaries under the National Homegrown School Feeding Program. This was in Abeokuta, Ogun State, during a stakeholders' engagement on enumeration of beneficiaries and scaling up of the Homegrown School Feeding Program. Lukman Adefesol reports.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development, Sadia Farouk, said the federal government has concluded arrangement to include additional 5 million pupils by 2023 as part of effort to scale up over 9 million pupils who are currently benefiting from one free nutritious meal nationwide.
With over 100,000 cooks employed and more than 100,000 smallholder farmers participating in this value chain, the National Homegrown Program is a serious potential for socio-economic development, and it needs to be strengthened, scaled up, and sustained nationwide.
Ogun State Governor Dakwa Abiodun, represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Tokunbo Talabi, appreciated the federal government for prioritizing welfare of the pupils and assured that necessary support will be rendered for the success of the program.
This is one of the programs that you can see has been very effective in targeting a certain set of people, and we can see
over 178,000 pupils from 1,532 public primary schools are currently benefiting from the National Homegrown School Feeding Program in Ogun State.
More than 50,000 persons with disabilities are to benefit from a federal post-COVID-19 intervention fund to be disbursed by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. The Executive Secretary, National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, James Lalu, disclosed this in a press briefing in Abuja. Gufan Shaji reports.
The fund is part of the federal government's conditional cash transfer scheme meant to cushion the effects of the pandemic on people living with disabilities, since these persons have been identified as severely affected by the pandemic. The Executive Secretary, James Lalu, also stated that data collection for beneficiaries will cover the entire 774 local government areas of the Federation, including the FCT, emphasizing that the Commission will prioritize rural communities in the collection process.
When you look at the effect of the disability, the distribution of disability today in Nigeria, over 80% of persons with disabilities are located in the grassroots at the rural communities who continue to suffer the most. So in this case, we want this data to be collected from the grassroots so that the impact of this intervention will reach out to the disability community and make the necessary impact in their life.
While assuring that more beneficiaries will be included, the Executive Secretary explained that they marked 50,000 persons living with disabilities are the first batch of beneficiaries. He therefore called for patience and cooperation on the parts of persons living with disabilities who were not included in the first batch, as well as enjoined beneficiaries to make judicious use of the funds by channeling same into investments to better their lives. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji, NTA News.
Let's now rejoin our Jos Network Center as our audio signals from there are very clear.
Thank you, Najatu. Good evening and welcome to Jos. The federal government says it is working towards creating an enabling environment to generate a more diversified export portfolio and market. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Otumba Richard Adeni Adebayo, stated this in a lecture to the Senior Executive Course 43 of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, Kuru Jos. Indeyang and Abuja reports that the paper is titled From African Economic Community to African Continent Free Trade Area, the New Africa's Regional Integration.
Delivering a paper, the minister represented notes that AFTA presents African countries opportunity to leverage on the enhanced access to a single continental market to achieve economic development. To this end, Nigeria has adopted some implementation strategies with the plan to reconstitute the Trade Policy Advisory Council chaired by the Vice President, review the Nigerian Industrial Revolution Plan, and the establishment of the Nigeria Foreign Trade Institute.
We are also working to strengthen the domestic institutional and regulatory frameworks by inter alia repositioning the Nigeria Office for Trade Negotiations, both in terms of its operational structure and enabling legislation. Establishment of the Nigerian International Trade Authority to handle safeguards, anti-dumping, subsidies and countervailing measures.
The Acting Director General NIMS, management and participants harped on the need for Nigeria to take cognizance of its comparative advantage to fully reap the benefits.
We're going to look at that document, and then as part of our reports to government will include strategies for implementing such program in the Nigeria.
The paper presentation, the Institute noted, will position them in line with the theme, Getting Things Done, Strategies for Policy Program Implementation in Nigeria to improve implementation of policies across sectors of the Nigerian economy for national development. In Jos, Indenyan and the Abuja, NTA News.
The Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association 3 Division Headquarters, Jos, says it will continue to render humanitarian services to the needy in the society. Deputy Chairperson of the association, Dorothy Faranza, stated this while presenting gifts to orphans and widows as part of activities to mark this year's Army Day celebration. The report. The Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association, which was established to assist communities around them with basic needs of life and also give them moral support, say they celebrate Army Day each year by showing love and support to the vulnerable and less privileged.
The Kwa's wife deemed it right that we should visit the neighboring orphanage to donate some tokens to them for them to realize that we are parents and we care for them.
The group donated food items and wrappers to the widows of the 3 division and also to the girls' transition home in Bassa, advised them not to be weighed down by their condition, but have faith in God.
Everybody that's contributing, helping us, may God bless them abundantly.
The only thing I have to say is thank you. May Almighty God bless them.
I want to say a very big thank you for their support, for their motherly care.
It's so heartwarming to see you mothers remembering us and to come back to visit with us.
As part of activities to mark the 2021 Army Day celebration, the acting GOC inaugurated its shopping complex. And that's it from here. It's back to Najatu for more on Nationwide.
Thank you. The National Hajj Commission has reassured Nigerian pilgrims of sustained efforts towards addressing issues arising from the 2021 aborted Hajj operations owing to the
The 2020 and 2021 failed meets to perform the annual Hajj operations in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is necessitating this conference to equip media personnel of Hajj boards nationwide with how best to respond to any query the public might wish to know on the botched exercises. The prevalence of COVID-19 and the challenges it poses to Hajj exercise is crucial to this gathering as pilgrims funds management under the Hajj savings scheme and other burning issues require credible information management.
It is the right of the pilgrims once they are willing to get their money to get it back. We already have agreed on this, and we also, of course, we are getting feedback that this has started.
National Hajj Commission of Nigeria says the current ground rules for the performance of Hajj operations needs to be reviewed while efforts to sustain the current tempo in tackling COVID-19 remains critical.
All of us know the truth is that we must live with the COVID-19 pandemic. When we think that it will go away so sudden, that will be wishful thinking. But I guess the world is strong enough to overcome any challenges.
The information managers here are expected to enlighten pilgrims in their various states on the post-activities of the 2021 Hajj exercise in the wake of the global pandemic. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NT News.
We apologize for that, not completing the intro on that report. It was due to a technical hitch. To diplomatic matters now. Nigeria and Germany have expressed commitment towards sharing expertise and technological transfer for the production of COVID-19 vaccines in Nigeria. This is the outcome of a strategic meeting. This was the outcome of a strategic meeting between the Minister of Health, Osagi Ihanire, and the German ambassador to Nigeria, Brigitte Ori. Joseph Otsen reports.
The third wave of COVID-19 in Nigeria and its devastating effect in countries like India, Brazil, and lately South Africa reveals that global collaboration is required not only in preventive measures, but making vaccines available to all. This is what informed this meeting between the Federal Ministry of Health and the Embassy of Germany in Nigeria. Minister of Health Dr. Osagi Ihanire says Nigeria is looking beyond assessing vaccines and is leveraging on possibilities of establishing vaccine production facilities in the country.
And our main requests are, one, access to vaccines. And number two, support for establishing a vaccine production facility in Nigeria. Clearly because we have a population that demands that we actually have good access to it.
If vaccination goes on,
the economic life will come back quicker. I can assure you that I will do my best together with our Nigerian partners to move things forward, because again, vaccination is the best way to tackle the pandemic.
Vaccine nationalism is a direct fallout of the impact of the third wave of COVID-19 in many countries, and the Ministry of Health looks forward to building capacity for Nigeria to venture into production of vaccines. In Abuja, Joseph Oten, NTA News.
The All Progressives Congress has approved the continuation of the party's membership registration, revalidation and register update exercise in Imo, Kwara, Ogun and Rivers states. A statement by the National Secretary, Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the APC, John James Apanudo-Edehe, says the update exercise in the 4 states will continue for 2 weeks. The statement adds that those who have not been registered in the affected states can purchase forms for Congress's party office elections and convention. The Caretaker Committee also approved the APC members in Rivers State who have purchased forms in the past to be allowed to participate in the congresses on the presentation of the bank teller as proof of payment. We thank you, and on that note, we conclude Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Thanks for watching.